I'm Patrick Byers, horticulture field specialist with University of Missouri Extension, and I'm excited to be sharing with you the fruit report. In today's report, we'll talk about foliar testing, and then we'll talk about the calendar of events for tree fruits and berries.
Foliar testing can be an excellent way to validate a fertility management program with fruit crops. It can also be a useful tool in diagnosing nutritional issues.
Sampling for tissue analysis varies among the different types of fruit as far as the best time to collect the sample and the proper type of tissue to collect. Looking at apples and peaches, tissue samples are collected from mid-July to mid-August, and mid-shoot leaves from current season's growth is the type of tissue that is sampled. With grapes, veraison is the common time that tests are collected, and leaf petioles are the tissue of interest. With grapes, occasionally tests are also run from samples collected earlier in the growing season, again of leaf petioles. With blueberries, the collection period is 2 to 3 weeks post-harvest, and the type of tissue sampled is mid-shoot leaves from current season's growth. With blackberries, we select the most recently expanded primicane leaf in late July to early August. Perennial strawberries, we sample following renovation, and the most recently fully expanded trifoliate leaf is collected. And in the case of annual strawberries, most sampling takes place in the spring from flowering through harvest. Frequently, multiple samples are collected, and these samples include the most recently mature trifoliate leaf, and frequently the leaf tissue and the petioles are separated, submitted separately, and analyzed separately.
With Highbush blueberry, foliar samples for routine maintenance of fertility management programs are collected 2 to 3 weeks after the end of harvest. So here in Missouri, that's typically in mid to late July. Make sure that the foliar sample represents the unit of interest. For example, if a planting has different blocks, sample each block separately. If there's more than one cultivar in a planting, sample each cultivar separately. The portion of the plant that is selected for a foliar test varies with the type of fruit. For example, with grapes, we select petioles. In the case of strawberries, we select a trifoliate leaf. In the case of blueberries, we select entire leaves. And we are selecting these leaves from current season's growth, and the leaves that we select will be mid-shoot leaves. So somewhere in this part of the shoot is where we'll collect the foliar sample. It's important that the leaves be healthy. And for example, looking at this sample here, this would be a good leaf to collect. The foliar test is going to include a number of leaves because it has to adequately represent the unit of interest. So you'll want to scatter your sample collection across the block or the cultivar and make sure that you collect at least 75 to 100 leaves. As you collect the foliar sample, place the leaves into a paper bag. A paper bag is better than a plastic bag because the leaves inside don't heat up as they would in a plastic bag, and they can lose quality by that happening. And then be sure to label each bag as you collect the sample so that you remember what you've collected. In this case, it's Blu-ray, block 1, and today is July 20th, 2020. The foliar sample is generally dried before being submitted to an analytical laboratory. So bring your sample in, pour the leaves out on a clean plate. If the leaves show any dust or noticeable residue, they can be gently washed under tap water. Otherwise, don't wash them. Allow them to remain on the plate until they dry, and then once dried, they can be packaged and submitted to the analytical laboratory.
Here is an example of a foliar test report as it returns from the analytical laboratory. There are 3 columns. One column is the content of the foliar test, the actual nutrient content expressed as percentage in the case of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, or in parts per million in the case of iron, manganese, boron, copper, zinc, and molybdenum. The actual content is then compared to the sufficiency range. The sufficiency range is considered to be the optimum level of leaf nutrient content. And this has been arrived at through exhaustive research. And then once the comparison is made, then a rating is given as far as low, optimum, or high. And for example, if we look at nitrogen, this particular sample had a content of 1.7% compared to a sufficiency range of 1.7 to 2.5%. Nitrogen in this sample would be considered to be optimum. In the case of potassium, the sample had a content of 0.58%, and the sufficiency range of 1.25 to 2.2% indicates that in the case of potassium, it is in a low situation in this particular foliar sample. The actual contents as compared to the sufficiency ranges can help reveal which nutrients may be in short supply and can also be used to adjust a fertility management program to address any perceived shortages of nutrients. Foliar testing is also a useful way to help diagnose nutritional problems in fruit crops. As we see in this picture here, blueberry nutrient deficiencies can look like various types of foliar symptoms, and it can be difficult from just a visual analysis to determine what the underlying cause is. But in the case of a foliar test, this can help us diagnose the problem. In this case, twinned foliar tests are collected. One sample includes healthy foliage, the other sample includes the foliage that is exhibiting the nutrient deficiency symptoms. The results of the foliar test are then compared, and if differences are seen in the relative amounts of particular nutrients, this can be an indication that these nutrients are contributing to the visual symptoms. Now let's take a look at the July calendar of activities for tree fruits. In the case of peaches, harvest is definitely underway. We're moving into the mid-season with peaches. Summer pest and disease management continues, although the intervals between protective sprays can be stretched out a bit if the weather is dry. Borer management, particularly for peach tree borer, takes place during this period of time. Most effective applications of borer management pesticides are based upon pheromone trap catches of the various borer species. For apples and pears, again, summer pest and disease management continues. Harvest will be approaching for early season apples and early season pears, which typically begins in mid-August. For berries, looking at strawberries, annual plasticulture plantings, it's time now to prepare planting sites. And if you haven't ordered plugs from the nursery, you need to do that just as quickly as you can. Plugs, the supply of plugs can be and somewhat tight getting this late in the season. And for matted row strawberries, now is a good time to maintain plantings from the standpoint of watering and weed management. For brambles, the harvest season is ending for floricane fruiting brambles and just beginning for primocane fruiting brambles. Remove spent floricanes as soon as the harvest is over for those particular shoots. And keep a close watch on pest management, especially Japanese beetle and spotted-winged Drosophila on fruiting brambles. The blueberry season is ending now for Missouri. Now is the time to foliar test. Now is also the time to make sure that you pay close attention to water management on blueberries. Blueberries are very drought sensitive, and the plant growth can be seriously hindered by dry periods in late July, August, and early September. Japanese beetle management continues for blueberries during this period of time. With elderberries, fruit harvest is just beginning in late July. The harvest peaks in August. Make sure that you're ready for harvest. Make sure that you have your harvest containers in place, and make sure that you have your marketing arrangements set up. Pest management on elderberry continues through this period of time as well, with Japanese beetles and spotted-winged Drosophila at the top of the list. And that concludes the fruit report for this issue. Remember that if you have any questions related to commercial horticulture, that you can reach out to your local MU Extension field horticulturist. This map shows the territories that are assigned to various specialists. Find your home county and reach out to the specialist assigned to your county.